And we are live once again. Both of us are back in the saddle. After a month of back and forth, here we are once again. Seth and I are back together. Actually, hey Seth, one thing we gotta bring up with the intro video, someone needs to add some DVZF to that stuff.
Yeah, we gotta cover that. That's it's been a real important part of our Discord as of late.
Yeah. Big game, big turnout for it, so we'll definitely have to get that added to the intro, and maybe even we'll maybe bully someone into doing beginner breakdowns for that. I know I sure as hell could use some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also the Prince of all Saiyans, so, we'll do that.
Vegeta. Alright.
Vegeta!
Alright, joking aside, we've got a whole lineup for you tonight. A couple of unusual ones. Starting out with this first one, for the first time in a long time, we are going to see someone playing Fang. Which, we have a couple of Fang players. In fact, the guy who, the head honcho of this Discord, shoutouts to Vinegar, is one, but you don't see him very much, and no one submits him, so it's good to see this guy. Someone from Singapore, as it turns out, so maybe he's just a really big Xian fan, but either way, it's an interesting set of matches. How much experience you got against Fang?
A lot. I routinely play one Vinegar as well as our local European choke lord Wizard.
Called out again, Wizard.
Yeah, welcome. Say this is our program where I routinely dunk on the other coaches.
Fair.
Come get some.
Fair enough. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. It's going to be a Fang versus Sakura, so a new matchup. One I think is probably somewhat actually in Fang's favor, just because of Sakura's range problem, but I don't know. It's since she's so new, and this Fang is using a lot of the new AE stuff. Hard to say. And I don't think you've been playing Sakura, so I don't know if you've had any experience playing her against Star.
I have a little bit. I've actually played a couple of soccer players, and I've spent some time in the lab with her, just kind of understanding how that character ticks and what she does.
Cool. So you'll probably know more about this matchup than I will. This is one that's way out of my expertise. But
I mean, we'll see. Let's get in there.
But in terms of principles, it's all the same. So, also, he's a super bronze here being matched up against someone who's almost in gold, so odds are already stacked against him somewhat.
2 minutes.
Okay.
So,
don't immediately jump back, people. Come on. Doesn't matter who you're playing. That's almost never.
It's especially, I was gonna say, especially in this matchup, like, Sakura's DP is silly. Like, it has like arguably the most range of any of the DPs in the game, and she can get in.
Yeah. So lots of sweeps from the Fang, lots of uses of V skill. Both of those are not I know enough about Fang to know that both of those are not really power moves, as it were. At least if you're going to sweep him and get him like that, you gotta set him up afterwards. That's like half of how he works, right? So, Fireball Wars. More V skill usage. Do they buff that at all for AE? I don't think they did.
As far as I know, it's just kind of a really good neutral tool. What I'm assuming he expects people to get is, one, he's trying to set up poison. He wants to kind of get that tick damage over time. And two, it's just like, it lets him kind of keep going and lets him...
Ooh.
Like, some people don't know that it doesn't really hurt you and try to avoid it. And some people do know that it's damage over time and just kind of try to move around it, which lets him kind of play some space.
Man, I really do feel bad for him there. Fang's critical art is finicky in terms of where it'll hit. He tried anti-air with it there, and it just
Yeah.
completely went right over this guy's head.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. So overall, what I saw when I originally looked at this, and what I still see now, is that he's not really using kind of what the Fang bread and butter is, which is you knock them down and you set them up. You drop the poison on their body, you do the high knees, or you do the instant overhead, or you do something, and you try to confuse them as they get up, right? He's a frame trappy, oaky kind of character, and our submitter here just wasn't really using that.
And another thing we're not seeing from this Fang player is like just kind of the very tried and true, very heavy Fong, like pressure strings. Like that's one thing that Fong definitely has to his advantage is just the ability to kind of like get in and like just kind of keep like a wall of pressure on. And if you don't know how to deal with it, like it's just he's waiting for you to make mistakes.
This is a very kind of back-offy Fang player. Like you see him, he jumps back at the start. He gets these sweeps and backs up. Tries to do that V skill, and unfortunately, Fang can be kind of deceptive that way. He looks like he's supposed to be this spray your poison balls from range kind of character, but he really isn't. His biggest strength is in your face pressure, which is weird. Like it's hard to wrap people's heads around sometimes, but he really isn't intended to be this guile kind of play character, or at least maybe they intended him that way, but it's not how he turned out.
Well, it's definitely not how Fong's weird. We all know Fong is weird. I wonder if we're gonna see the I was wondering if we're gonna see the infamous well-used Fong player tactic of wake up super.
Yeah, so anyway, this first,
so it definitely looks like he's trying to set stuff up on the knockdown. Like we saw him lay down smoke and kind of try to cross over. It looks like he just doesn't have a full understanding of how all that works.
Yeah, there's some attempts there, but it's definitely one of those things where you just have to practice it until you know what the timing feels like and like what moves you got to do. And so he did actually he sent 2 in, and on the second one he plays that same player again and beats them. So this will be an interesting contrast for us here. So same 2 people, matched randomly again. I guess there just aren't that many people playing in Singapore. Again with the sweeps, just see that's why I'm saying he shouldn't be using the V skill there. Like when you get those hard knockdowns, you don't want to use something that is only threatening over time. Like that's a situation where you dump that big nasty heavy poison ball right down on top of them. Using a lot more of that heavy punch here, and a lot more Satojas.
Yeah. This round, it seems like he feels a little bit more comfortable just kind of getting in and understanding that the Sakura player may not understand. Like we're seeing a little bit more. We're seeing better kind of pressure and just like kind of staying in and keeping on, which is something Fang is really good at. But
so yeah, there we go. That was a good setup there, using the fireballs to cover his approach. Sakura doesn't really win fireball wars at that kind of range, so. But
I mean, Sakura's like, I ain't no Sakura main, but I definitely feel like some of Sakura's fireball stuff is meant more as kind of combo extenders and setup and stuff for setups.
Yeah. He gets kind of savaged this second round, but I think neither of these guys really understands how the other player's character really works, so they're both letting the other guy kind of get away with murder on pressure strings. I
mean, that's something you still kind of see, especially even up into like the mid to late platinums is like Fang. People still get fanged pretty bad.
Yeah, see, Satoja there, that's punishable. She jabs it, but she doesn't get anything out of it. Ooh, good cross-up overhead.
Yeah. So like I said, this set he definitely feels like he feels more comfortable with where he's at.
Ooh, drops the confirm there.
Ooh.
Would have costed him if the Sakura knew how to punish that, but Fang's critical art actually is one you have to practice on how to punish it. It's goofy to punish a lot of characters.
Yeah, I know Laura definitely struggles with it. Like, the balls making it hard for her to kind of get in, especially since her longest jumping button is jumping light or jumping medium kick, and like you still, even with the range on that, it's hard to get in.
See, Zangief has it easy. You just jump and do EX spinning pile driver. Catch it. Just catches him from like halfway across the screen. Problem solved. So let's take these as a compare contrast, right? Because these are two matches, same people, one win, one loss, and I feel like kind of like we were saying in the first match, like as soon as this guy turned on the Fang, as it were, he started winning. Like, first match he was playing very passively, jumping back, like trying to control space with fireballs, and just generally kind of letting the Sakura dictate who was on the offense, and he just got savaged. In the second game, he was much more active. Like, a bunch of that stuff he did was unsafe, but she did nothing about it because she doesn't know what the hell Fang does.
No, like I said, a lot of people don't.
So, a very rare match. And so, Julian, if you end up watching this, you've got the right idea. You need to learn. I think what you need to learn the most is like how to extend Fang pressure. Your pressure was basically a lot of heavy punches and sweeps mixed in with occasional step kicks and fireballs. And while that worked okay against this player, as you get better and people, get more aggressive, or you run into one of those nutty Kens who's just going to EXDP it anyway, you got to learn your actual frame traps. And
you've got to have an understand. Like, you definitely want to have an understanding of like when your opponent, like, you will have, especially kind of like after the first round, if you've been paying attention, you'll have a general idea of when your opponent's going to do things, or kind of like what some basic habits for your opponent are. Like, if I see you EXDP at a certain string, like, going on from now with that, if I see you with meter, I'm going to set it up and try to get you to do it again, except I'm baiting you and going to light you up.
Yeah, see, this first round, it's like almost all this damage is off of random heavy punches and Satojas, and that's not... It works because this guy's walking into it, but that's just, it isn't going to keep working. You got to figure out what you're going to do for real after it, rather than relying on the bamboozlement forever. And so kind of the two key things: learn your frame traps and also learn your confirms, because both times, like, the supers in both these matches went completely wild, and the second one is because you didn't confirm. And if you had like noticed that after your jump in that your crouching heavy punch had been blocked, you could have just held off and maybe even had that bar to finish her off more easily. You still won, but if you had confirmed, you wouldn't have blown an entire critical art on nothing. So, and that's just practice, right? I mean, I still screw up hit confirms all the time. It's just, you got to keep doing them, especially on new characters and new seasons where things have changed. You've just got to keep practicing them until you can do them consistently. Like, I'm trying to learn this one counter hit confirm in Tekken, and it's like I have gotten it wrong like 9 times out of 10. I don't even know why. The timing's weird.
I mean, that's the same with me with some of Brian's setup and things that he does. Is just like, I've done this combo a million times in practice mode, and I can do it, the wall carry and the wall combo with it. Like, in a match, I can't. And it's just understanding, like, sometimes you have to be able to practice stuff under pressure and be able to actually perform under pressure, and it's a tough thing to learn.
Yeah. So, kind of key takeaways: practice frame traps, practice. Okay, that's a great frame to pause on. Practice frame traps, practice your pressure, practice your confirms, and don't get discouraged. Honestly, that is one of the single biggest hurdles as a newer fighting game player, like getting all that down, because it's both execution heavy and mentally taxing, because you have to not only hit the buttons right, but your brain has to catch up with what's going on, and that's hard. It's really hard. All right, so which one? I'll let you pick. Which of these other three you want to go first? We got a Guile, we got a Ken, and we got a Urian.
I feel like let's do Ken. I'm feeling Chill Stream. Chill Stream seems like it's a good time.
Alrighty then. So we have.
Yo, that name is so godlike. 9mm Menace. So that's a Wu-Tang Clan album.
I gotta give him his respect as a fellow Wu-Tang Clan name. So we got a Ken versus Jury. Jury got a lot of buffs in AE. I still don't think they made her
She's
like super great, but she's definitely way better than she was.
She's out of like C tier and up to like mid B.
Yeah, like she's still not like great, but what the hell is with all these DPs? Jesus Christ.
Man knows what he wants.
Both these guys are just like letting them rip. This looks like that one guy.
Do it again.
Uh-oh. Someone just gave up there.
My man's accepted defeat.
Uh-oh, are we gonna get the double beat noise?
But
yeah, okay. So we gotta go back through that, because that was like the most perfect like bronze play I have ever seen. So both these guys just like letting those dragon punches rip. Like they don't give a crap. Like just raw that.
It's just like it is. This man is at peace with his instincts.
Just again, like how many in a row is that? 3? 4?
I mean, our good friend 9mm Menace hasn't really done anything about it, so like why not?
So number one thing for both players, 9mm is the one who submitted this, but you know if this jury somehow sees this too, you gotta punish.
You have other moves.
Not only do you have other moves, but you gotta punish people for doing that stuff. Like that's the number one thing to get out of bronze is like when people do that crazy dumb shit, you just let it rip, block it, and beat the hell out of them. Okay, we're saying screen is stuck. Okay, it looks like the screen is indeed stuck. What the heck? Hold on one moment.
Bueno.
Why the heck is it stuck? That's weird. It's stuck on Fang's feet. What if I... Okay, there we go. I fixed it. How do we... And it's good to see that the technical difficulties genie has not left us.
No. We will never be a polished production.
Alright, let's try that again.
I was gonna say, did you see that nonsense I had going? I had like 2 narrow Claudiuses and a GIF, and we just made it work.
Alright, so back to let's do this again. Greatest bronzes ever. Like we've already commentated this, so let's watch this a minute. Let's just appreciate this round.
Yeah, I do want to take this in and just enjoy life.
Am I the only one thinking about that one video back from Street Fighter 4 where with the Ken theme.
Yeah, the one that only did punish DPs. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and so Jury apparently rage quits right here, probably because her DPs got blocked too many times. So, all right, let's talk about that. So that's like such a perfect example of the stuff that like really clowns people really early on in bronze, right? Like not you get past it quickly and you figure your stuff out, but Jesus, like, does it feel bad when that happens to you, right? Like, we've all been there. Like, sometimes it still happens to you even at higher ranks. Like, who here has been SPD'd 4 times in a row? Because I sure as hell have, like, 5 times. But when someone's doing something like that, you just gotta figure out the counterplay and let them hang themselves. You can't just keep trying to do it back. It's not going to work. You know, getting out of the lower ranks is very much about, like, it's almost more about not doing stupid shit than it is about punishing other people's stupid shit. And like in this case, the stupid thing that 9mm is doing is just like letting himself get pulled into this DP contest instead of just playing smarter and punishing it. Like, I don't know, there's not much else to say about that. Alright, so let's see if he does better on his second fight. Oh, and Ed! I know you know some stuff about Ed. Let's see if we actually...
I do know some Ed.
Let's see if that comes through here, or if we're just going to get another... How many psycho uppers do you... let's take a bet. I'm betting 7 psycho...
I'm putting a
7.
I'm going to put 5. I'm going to put a 5.
Got it. Let's see who wins here. Man, is this another AFK'er? Oh, okay, there you go. He woke up.
There we go. Yeah, my man's guy's battle.
Oh, there's one.
DP. So are we counting raw ones? Are we counting raw ones, or are we counting in combo?
I think we're counting raw. I would assume. I mean, if it's in combo, it isn't really.
So we're at 2.
If it's in combo, that's right and proper. That ain't no random EX fucking DP. Okay, good anti-air there. What the heck? Okay, so this ad, big compliments on one thing from this ad. He's using the whatever the kick is called very effectively to anti-air.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called exactly.
It's like, as I say, I think it's just like Psycho Rising or something.
Like he missed it on that last one there, but he got it pretty good. So he's trying, and big props to him for that. Both guys. Okay, so another bronze thing here. Everybody's jumping around all the damn times. Learn not to do that. I know it's hard I know it's hard, but like at some point people will start to anti-air you. That was in combos. That doesn't count. Okay, 5. So if he doesn't do any more, you win. See, okay, okay, hold on, I gotta pause right there. So, that's a prime example of not doing it right. So, let's get back to that. That's technically 1, 2, but let's look at this biggest example right here. So, massive screw up here by Kim, right? Like, this is the sort of screw up that, like... Go ahead.
At that health, that's a screw up that should have gotten him killed.
Like, yeah, like if a blocked EXDP in that situation, like a dropped combo EXDP, that is literally the worst situation. Because this Ed should have had all the time in the world to crush counter him, and then combo, build a little bit of meter, and finish with an EX cycle upper or something like that and kill him. But because either he doesn't understand that, or he didn't react in time, or he already had this plan of action in mind and just did it without thinking. He autopiloted it. All he does is throw him. And throws don't hurt that much. I would so much rather take like 5 throws than like be in this situation.
No, this is like DP. Like, this is kind of one of the reasons like I'm really weird about, like, I don't trust myself to play characters with DPs. It's just like it's too tempting of an option for some things. Like, there's definitely like a period where you have to learn like when it's okay and when it's not to DP properly. But like the moment you like actually get like it's really easy just to throw one out like in the middle of something and hope it works. And like, you know, especially playing, you know, someone like Laura who just does insane damage. Like, you know, I see DPs as just ways for, like, DPs exist for me to punish and just maul you.
He does manage to scramble and close it. That was ugly though. He could have easily taken that.
Yeah.
And 9mm, you know, if you're here, you gotta watch those combos. If you're there are combos you really just cannot let rip if you're not confident in them, because they're more likely to kill you than the enemy. The old whiff jab trick. What the? We'll jumped right into the flicker there. Doesn't punish the sweep. Okay, that was a weird flicker.
I mean, he's good.
Okay, good. That worked. That worked. Oh, but he doesn't realize how to.
Doesn't do it in time.
He hasn't used another psycho upper. You're still winning.
Yeah, it looks like he's realized he can just win with flickers.
Ooh. Okay, 6. So we both lose.
No. He buffered into that.
All right. I'll give it to you. But so from the two sides here, this Ed, decent job showing some fundamentals, going for anti-airs, going to put pressure on, keep him shut down. Needs to work on his confirms and knowing like what to do when the opponent leaves an opening, because he's mostly just fishing, and that works okay. Like, especially in bronze and silver, people like to walk into the bait, but as you get higher, people will stop like getting fished as much. You've got to actually know how to take advantage of openings, or you're going to lose damage races over time. For 9mm, since you're the one who submitted this, stop jumping and DPing so much.
You had, to quote my previous set, you have other options.
Like, I know they're super good and they're super tempting and they work a ton against these people. Like, we saw how they screwed up that jury, right? Like, she just did not, she literally rage quit over it.
She just didn't get it.
Like it does work on people, but then it stops working. And then you get your butt kicked by someone who actually, has an idea. Like this Ed, that last round, he was basically controlling it almost the whole way. Like, those flickers kept catching your random DPs, which I'm pretty sure was happening there, I'm a guesser. You're trying to do the raw non-EX DPs, and the flicker was just there, and you DP'd into them. And, while it's not the ideal situation, like, he should just block and punish you, it still means he didn't have the right strategy, but it still means he saw right through you. So, honestly, like, if you enjoy Ken, you should keep playing Ken, but you should try to play Ken for a couple of days, like, just consistently, without DPing or jumping at all. Like, you might lose more, and I understand that's frustrating, but sometimes you just gotta take those options away and figure out how you play without them before you can have them back in order to, like, actually progress. Like, I have to do that sometimes too. Like, there are times where I'm like, I am overusing this option. I need to step back and literally just play without it for a while, and then that way I understand how to play around it, and then I can bring it back in, and then it's like I'm playing well, and I have this option instead of I'm just relying on this option. Like there was one time I decided to play Zangief for a while without using light punches. It was painful, but I got a lot better at anti-airs. You ever try that, Seth?
Just like limiting my options and kind of having to teach myself around using stuff.
Yeah, just out of curiosity. Not everybody learns the same way.
I've done a little bit of it. Like, my problem is like, especially as someone who kind of has a bad problem with autopilot and something that I'm personally working on, like, I do generally try to, like, I feel like if I kind of zero in on specific tools and just kind of only do certain things, like, I get into an autopilot flow, and those are the only options that I particularly use. So it's not something that I'm particularly fond of myself, but it has something to do with particular problems that I use.
Yeah, and
but that's just me. Like, my big thing is like being able to think through and use all of my. I think there's definitely a place for it. Like, if I had to tell our good friend here, like, kind of one thing I would recommend, like, learn to hit confirm Kin's standing jab, back medium punch, heavy punch, target combo into DP. If you're really attached to that DP, learn to do that. The better option is to do light punch, standing light punch, back medium punch, heavy punch, target combo into heavy Tatsu, because that's one of Kin's optimal damage B&Bs.
Yeah, we didn't actually see a lot of Tatsus, which is like, that's the other usual, like, oh god, here comes Ken with his Tatsus, and we almost didn't see any of those.
Yeah, so, like, especially for that, like, I guarantee you, like, if you learn how to do that, like, that's a 4-frame punish that does, I want to say along the lines of, like, 250 damage.
Quarter of your health, right? Just, on 4 frames, that's nutso.
Yeah, and, like, there's that, and just, like, especially if you got meter at the end of it, you can do, EXDP, which I think adds an extra 50-ish damage to that. So, like, that's 300, that's a third of a health bar for 1 meter.
Yep. So, okay, so, just general practice notes, like, again, confirms, combos, punishes. And, you don't necessarily have to do it the way I said it, but try to figure out a way to limit your usage of jump-ins and DPs for a while. Just try to get them out of your head, because you like to do them, they're fun, they work a lot now, but when they stop working, they stop working hard.
I mean, arguably at that point, like, he's at a point where they're not working, if we're going to be honest, because, like, looking at that set, like, how many times he didn't get lit up bad. He still got lit up for all those DPs, because this Ed knows how to, like, has a understanding that block DPs kill this man.
Yeah, blocker, he's, using, when he's trying to do him raw, he's using that mean little flicker, jab, flicker, and catching him trying to start him up. Like, definitely, not optimal ways to deal with it, but already, this guy in bronze has figured out, oh, this Ken likes to DP, I'm going to make sure he doesn't. And, if that's happening already, then it's kind of one of those things where you got to keep that in mind. Alright, so Guile Urian.
This ought to be interesting.
Charge character extravaganza tonight. I think the Guile we've done before. It's the same. It's the previous semester. Let's do him last. Take a look at this Urian.
Good old you, Ryan.
Also, I gotta say, his name, definite tilt inducer, A+.
Yeah.
So this is a gold match, so hopefully the play here is a little better. Yeah, okay, let's see this. What's with...
Assuming our good friend, Young Ween.
Okay, there we go, he's awake. Well, a lot of AFKers in today's matches for some reason. I think it's because we're getting a lot of raw streams this time, so just as a note...
Yeah.
For the record, we don't really like when you link like the whole stream. It's easier if you can like send us individual matches or something where we can easily pick out like the ones you want us to look at. When you get this whole stream of things, we don't have enough time to get all the way through like what you're thinking, and so it can be a little annoying. Yeah, well, this is some classic Urian. This Nash isn't really using the Nash's strong movement to his advantage. Which is I think this is kind of a rough matchup for Nash, but I don't think it's that rough. Yeah, there we go. So now he's using, you can see this Nash is kind of thought about. He's starting to, control the distance a little better.
He's playing like Nash.
That first round, he really just let our man Nickelback set the entire pace, and it really didn't pay off. And you can see it's kind of... Oh, never mind. There it is. I was about to say he was playing a little more cautiously, and then the EX chariot tackle showed up. I mean, I guess it's just Urian, right? You gotta do it sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta... Sometimes you just gotta hit him with it.
Alright, so Pops V trigger 2. Wow, okay, that was some weird hitboxes right there.
I'm not gonna lie, what I think this Urian player is also trying to set up is trying to set up the glitch where Urian is invincible after certain V trigger 2 setups.
So
we may be seeing something like that.
Could be, but I mean, doesn't matter. He's still lost.
As I say, if I played Urian, that's what I'd be doing. Like, use that for everything it's worth.
Victory is what matters.
Hey, I'm out here trying to get that paper.
Yeah, nobody ever gave you points for playing fair online.
Yeah, no,
So yeah, so he's definitely struggling a little bit against now this Nash Pierce kind of woken up. Like he's playing a lot more hesitantly, like random EX chariot tackles aside. Like he's letting this Nash get away with a lot of whiffing and like stuff that like if I was him, honestly, I'd be even more aggressive with like doing some tackles and headbutts every so often, because this Nash is just whiffing shit at just about tackle range. Yeah, you only have to catch him once, and then it's like, oh, it's worth it. He's getting away with these bazooka knees.
We saw, as I say, we saw that. Yeah, we saw the startup of the. We saw startup of V trigger 2. He wants it. Like we're seeing, like. See, that's go back. I want to highlight that because that was. As I say, that's definitely. That was a situation where. That could have been the game.
Yeah, like right there. The glitch could have happened if he'd done a little. Like basically.
Oh, I don't mean that.
He,
Here. Like, he had meter. That could have been an EXDP and win.
Yeah, he's really. It's interesting. The first round, he was definitely completely controlling the pace, and the second 2 rounds where he's losing, he's just letting Nash get away with freaking murder. Like Urian controls a lot of ground, and like Nash has a lot of mobility, but you really got to chase his ass down.
Like that's the thing. Urian's the kind of character where you can walk forward, and as I say, where you can just start walking forward, and like, especially as that space closes, like, especially as like that space starts closing, you know, your buttons just keep getting better and better. Like Urian has very long range, very safe buttons that give him the ability to just do what he wants. Like,
let's see if he wakes up this second game. So he's trying to jump in. He's definitely being a little more active, which is good. That's what you got to do against Nash. For people struggling against Nash, like it definitely feels a lot of the time like Nash is just like controlling the entire match, and it's very understandable. He kind of does in a lot of ways, but like it's a fragile thing. Once you get in on Nash, he starts feeling real bad about himself real quick. So you have to be willing to aggress, and like you'll take some chip damage for it. He'll catch you with fireball here and there. He'll catch you with swipes. You know, he'll poke you, but you've got a lot of characters. You just got to walk him down, and I would definitely say Urian is in that group.
Yeah, like Urian's got a bunch of weird stuff that he can kind of. He's tough. Like, and that's the thing, though. Especially like Nash is a really kind of a good like high mobility hit and run character. Like Urian has the ability to shut that down. Like he just straight up lets him.
Ooh.
It just lets him.
Okay, so big several sequences there. Like there's like 3 in a row there where he could have confirmed into something, done a lot of damage, and he just didn't. I don't know why. Like, you know, multiple points where he could have just confirmed into like an EX chariot tackle, you know, something.
Yeah.
Like, so the reason I bring that up specifically, like that's been a complaint for most people, but especially this guy, he's in gold. 1, he should know better, and 2, he's fighting Nash. If you don't do that shit against Nash, Nash starts winning. Like, Nash and Guile are both kind of that way, where if you don't take all the damage you can get when you catch them, it's going to be it becomes very difficult to win, because they do so much damage while you get in, and then if you don't take all the damage you get when you do get in, you know, that basically is handing them around. Dalsim to a degree. You know, Sim's a little weird in this one, and like he ends up winning this one, but he could have won it much more easily if he had just taken the damage he had confirmed into. Like when he gets counter hits, when he gets those big launches, he didn't confirm into anything, and then, you know, that's it. You know, the fact that it worked this time, like against the.
It's not going to work every time. Like,
you know, it gives Nash more opportunity to back up and poke away at you and start to win.
Yeah, and it like Nash wants the distance from you. He wants to be able to kind of poke you down. And Urian can play the fireball game with Nash because like Urian's fireballs are good, and he has options to shut down like.
Okay.
He has options to shut down like Nash's ways in, but like at the same time, like, why do you want to deal with that? Like, you have a character that can just kind of that controls space really well and just moves in and out, and like.
Okay, so right here, right.
You know, why even bother and like have that?
So prime example, like big crush counter anti-air right here, and he just dashes up. Like, I'm pretty sure he could have.
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how he could.
I think he can chariot tackle, or headbutt, but I know you can get something.
He may not have had. He may not have had time to. I was gonna say he may not have had time to charge.
But, you know, that's just an example of a number in this match where he gets these big crush counters or counter hits, and he doesn't confirm anything out of them. There we go. That was a solid confirm. You know, that's what he needs to be doing all the time. He gets these solid hits, and he just needs to combo off them. This Nash also needs to stop like whiffing random things. Like, I know you're Nash.
Yeah.
You can get away with it a lot, but like against people who are like anticipating. Oh, that was neat. Dropped the last bit though, and it cost him.
Yeah.
A fair attempt. I think he needs to practice that setup more. So, what I'm going to say about this Nash in particular, his defense is pretty decent. It's his tendency to just randomly whiff stuff or hit buttons in bad situations that's getting him killed.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, it's not even necessarily like... I don't feel like he's trying to use those buttons to play footsies. He's just throwing buttons out because... Just throwing them out to throw them out.
Yeah, it's like he kind of watched someone play Nash and, he's imitating it without really understanding why those buttons are whiffing. They're not whiffing because the person wanted them to. They're whiffing because the space is being controlled. Like, you shouldn't... There is no character in Street Fighter V that you should be consistently whiffing buttons with.
Yeah, no, like... There's a difference between, like, kind of using jabs to lead people around and things like that. But, like...
Okay, so just as a note, like, that last scramble there, that was just a big pile of oops on both sides.
Yeah.
Like...
I mean, that's what scrambles are. Like, scrambles are just...
Let's break that down, because that's a situation that, like, a lot of people struggle in, so let's take a look at that. So... Alright, so Urian's at almost no HP, but he gets the big knee, gets out, does a bit of damage. Now both people are effectively one touch from death. So now, honestly, like, I'm going to admit it, I'm betting a lot of you are like this too. You're in this situation, you're panicking a little bit. You're thinking, I gotta finish this, I gotta do something. I gotta be the first hit, I gotta win this. And so you start doing some weird shit like doing light jump-ins and then walking back, which just don't do that, guys, please. Like, he went for that light jump-in, it didn't work, and so he just started holding back and hoping that this Nash would just, like, I don't know, poke him in return, and said he got thrown and killed. So, like, that was very clearly a panic move, right? Like, super, super clearly. And that is understandable. It happens to everybody. But when you're down to that, they're both down to those low HPs, that's when you can afford to panic the least. And, like, I'm super guilty of it. Everyone... has, everybody's heartbeat quick, except maybe Tokido. That guy is, like, stone freaking cold. But, like, when you're down to that kind of HP, you've really got to start playing smarter rather than whatever just happened there.
All right, let's let this play out and then kind of head to the last set, because there's a lot to take away from this one, and we can keep dissecting and breaking this down. Like, we can keep finding stuff if we really try.
And I mean, this is part of a 55-minute long stream, so let's not get that whole thing. Let's take a look at this here. Guile, who, as before, for some reason likes to record his videos tiny but whatever, we'll live.
Yeah.
So, thanks again to SRO Cargas for sending this in. And again, I'm going to tell you to stop jumping back. You are Guile. You don't need to jump back. You can just sit there and make them unhappy.
Yeah. You can literally stand to be a wall, and if they move in, hit them with Sonic Boom, because spoilers, it's plus on block.
Like, you don't need, like, one of the things to understand about Guile is you don't need to make space. You make them make space for you. And then that's why he ends up back into the corner and basically rushed down here, which is... Okay, so he should have punished that better, but at least he punished it. I'll give him that. Okay, whiffed throws. Anti-air. I think that was supposed to be a spinning back fist. That might have been a misinput.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, it worked, I guess.
It worked.
It shouldn't.
Okay, so what? Like, as I say, we're seeing a lot of jumps and stuff here. Like, don't jump on Cammy. Like, back medium punch is really good, and it even stuffs crop subs. Like, your only hope is that they don't do it, and a good Cammy is going to do it.
Okay, and learn to punish spiral arrows properly. Like, throws at least is a punish, but it's not really a punish you should be doing. Oh, okay, he's in the chat. Hi, yes, sir, run on. Don't worry. What does this mean to everybody? So...
We're not even being mean. We're just being, like... You're at a point where, like, where stuff needs to start being beaten in, because if we don't, it's gonna cost you.
Okay, so... There we go. You're controlling space much better in this round, you know, though you should probably stop jumping and whiffing buttons in midair so much. So when like, you know, Cammy does have a dive kick, but flash kick shuts that crap down. You cannot... There we go. That was beautiful. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you gotta be willing to demonstrate that you'll flash kick their ass. Like, after a couple of flash kicks, they'll stop doing it. I promise. They'll get scared. Okay, I guess that's an anti-air, technically. Like, Guile's got a million good anti-airs, and you're using some very odd choices. So, I mean, they worked in a couple of cases, so I'm not going to say they're, like, completely wrong or anything, but you've got to... Yeah, there we go. You got to just practice that. You got to be able to pull that out of your American buttocks whenever you want it.
Yeah. I mean, the other part of that, too, is, like, this is very much a matchup where you can wall up and, like, Cammy straight up doesn't have, you know, an overhead. Like, she can jump in, but if she tries to jump in, you flash kick. This is literally a matchup where you can just sit there and, like, you can just poke, you can just, like... You can literally just kind of keep at it and then keep them in. Just kind of like be that wall. Let them like bash their head against you and kill themselves.
Yeah, like out of the rushdown characters, Cammy is probably the one that is going to struggle the most against Guile because he just shuts down pretty much every option she has to get in. You know, so she just has to play very patiently, and I gotta say. Big props on your flash kick into super confirms. Those are on point. Like, I think you've probably practiced those a fair bit, and it shows. Wow, she's using V-Trigger too, and it still sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for you Cammy players out there, don't use V-Trigger 2. It's not good. Or at least it's definitely not nearly, like, even remotely close to as good as V-Trigger. Okay, that was pretty good. A solid use of the V-Trigger 2 there. This is a lot of Cammys.
Yeah. I mean, that character is fairly common.
Yeah.
Some people. I mean, hey, some people like the booty. I respect it.
Okay, so this one's much more aggressive than the previous ones, but a lot of spinning back fist, which is a really bad move even against Guile because it's so slow. Like Guile can Sonic Boom, you can go through it, he can still jab you. It's so stupid.
That, I mean, yeah, especially since there's that. There's also Flash Kick because like since Flash Kick isn't a directional input, all you have to do is wait for the switchover to happen and then let loose an EX DP and people get lit up.
Yeah, so like another solid compliment to you here. Like you haven't been letting her get away with those spinning back fists. Oof. Okay, that was a weird choice by her. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have seen that one coming either. Random ass EX hooligan. What the heck? But like you definitely are not letting them get away with these spinning back fists, and that's good. That means your reflexes are on point. You're in the right position to not get owned by the really scrubby cami tactics like bronze camis. It's all spinning back fists and freaking hooligan throws. I should know. I did that to a bunch of people when I first learned how to play. Okay, so let's watch one more, and then I think we'll kind of let's watch this final, what the heck, video stutter, and then let's talk about kind of general tips for you, because like overall I think your biggest flaw is your tendency to do this like jump back into the corner thing whenever you're feeling pressured, and it's like I understand where you're coming from, and like it feels good to do as Guile because you get the space, you get this control, but you don't want to be in the corner because then you don't have anywhere to back up to if things go wrong. And like you don't want to be preemptively jumping back because then you're taking away your option for things going wrong because you're preemptively acting as if things are not going to go your way and you're just giving up ground. You are Guile. There is literally no one in the game who controls the ground directly in front of them better than Guile does. That's your entire job. You want to hold your ground and force them to make you back up, and make them suffer for every moment of it. Like, all right, he's saying skip to minute 11. So let's watch whatever matches there and then call it a.
Okay.
So let's take a look at this.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, already a much stronger start. No jumping back, just holding your ground. This is what you want to do. You can see she can't do anything about it. She's coming in. She's being very cautious because Cammy doesn't have a choice. You have to play like that against Guile. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay, a jump back, but at least you jumped right back in, so you didn't actually give up any ground. X.
It's good anti-air.
Yeah. Okay.
See, this is more kind of what I was talking about. Like, he's sitting here playing like incredibly good defense, just being a wall and letting this Cammy like just bash her head against it.
Yeah, like, if anything, you shouldn't have jumped back there at all. Like, every time you jump back, that's when she got a chance to come in at you and feel like she had the momentum on her side. Like, when you're just sitting there and frustrating her and, like, refusing to move, that is what really, like, gets in people's heads. Like, that is the Guile that makes people just want to quit. And that's what you want to be doing as Guile.
It is it's definitely the Guile that makes me want to quit playing Laura.
good. Okay, good use. I will say that was a good time for the XDP. She would have gotten a nice setup there. She was thinking about it, and you weren't low enough on health that it would have killed you if you'd messed it up. So it was a good decision, even if you lost the round. You got to be willing to EXDP sometimes, and you have to be willing to do it when you're not already on the ropes, because if you only do it when you're on the ropes, it's predictable. They're going to start baiting you the moment you get on the ropes. Yeah, so this is the kind of play you want to be focusing on. Jump back even less. Just control the space and force them to make you move. So you're only jumping back when the other choice is to get owned, and that will make them it is the most frustrating thing in the game to play against. It is infuriating, and that means you tend to win, because when people get infuriated, they play badly. All right. You have anything else to say about that, Seth?
Like I said, especially towards the end of that, that turned into the Guile, the Guile that excels in this matchup. Taking the moment back to kind of slow down and be a wall that shuts down some of the more disgusting, let's say some of the more disgusting options that Cammy has, because letting Cammy get in and actually start her pressure, you don't want to mess around with that. You just don't want that to happen. So sitting there being a wall, letting her try options and try things that just don't work, be that wall, and when she does something unsafe, let her go. We saw Sonic Booms to shut down her spinning knuckle. We saw flash kicks to do that. That's the kind of thing that just makes these sets it makes that set more doable and just way easier to deal with. But I mean, outside of that, that's really just the thing that I have to. It's just how I feel. That's what we've seen and everything's there.
We may be biased because we both play people who. That kind of Guile play makes really, really angry, like Zangief and Laura, against that kind of Guile play. It's just this never-ending chain of frustration. But, Guile's strength is controlling space. And if you're just giving up space to your opponent for free, you're giving up, his greatest strength for no reason. All right, that's everyone for tonight. And yes, Salt Furno, we did get your video, but I don't want to just tack it on at the end here when we're already been going and going. So we'll make sure to get to it first thing next week, where we'll be back at the same bat time, the same bat channel. We are both officially back for a while, I hope, barring, I don't know, me catching mononucleosis or something. And
yeah, I was gonna say, on that, I actually do have some things that I need to take care of next Friday night, so I won't be here.
Well, then I'll have to rustle up somebody.
I think I can hook that up. But after that, you've got a solid 3 or 4 weeks of us teaming up to get some stuff done.
I'm sorry, Salt, but...
Young man, don't make me come. I'm on a hiatus from Street Fighter right now because I'm burnt out. But if I have to come off of hiatus and body you, young man, I will. Now go sit in your room.
We'll see you all next week. And don't forget, please, if you're watching this, you haven't already, below the stream, you can find the link to join the Discord. Please join. We've got tons of coaches. We've got tons of people looking to help you get better even outside of this stuff. So both Seth and I still drop in to the coaching channels all the time. And, we have people for pretty much every character and every matchup who can help you get way better than you are. So don't forget to send in your replays to NCH beginner breakdowns at gmail.com. And I will see you next week. You got anything else to say, Seth?
Thank y'all for coming in, and we appreciate y'all coming back. I'm glad y'all are here. I'm glad we have you, and it's good to be back in the saddle as a team.
Okay.
Feel free to send us your replays. I may not reply to everyone because I work like a fiend and I'm also a crazy madman. But I'm watching your stuff, and we're watching, and I may not comment that I've seen it, but if it it'll show up in a beginner breakdown. So don't get discouraged and don't think that we're not listening.
Yep. All right. We'll see you all next week. Have a good night.
Have a good one, y'all.